So today we're removing stipple and we're going to show you how to resurface your ceiling. Now, if your stipple is installed properly, then the ceiling was painted. If it wasn't, like a lot of new construction, they cheat and they just spray the stipple up there and walk away. You're going to see the drywall and then the mud lines, but you can't just go and paint your ceiling. There's a couple of steps that you're going to have to work on first. So today I'm going to go through all the tools and the techniques so you can do successful flat ceilings at home, if you dare. Today I'm going to be working on finishing this ceiling and making it brand new again, but there are a few important steps you've got to follow. One, use a 6-inch knife when you're taking your stipple off. Go slowly, okay? So when you find issues and problems, you're not going to do a big chunk and take a big dip out of the ceiling. You don't want to have to repair the ceiling before you surface it. That's 2 coats of mud, and that takes a lot more time. When you're doing it, just try to get it flat. Don't be in a big hurry. The ceiling itself will tell you how much pressure and how fast you can go, depending on if it's been painted or not, or if the ceiling has been painted before the stipple went on or not. A lot of different conditions exist. If you're trying to scrape off a painted ceiling and they had acrylic in the paint, you're not taking it off. It's going to be like bulletproof. So the only way you can fix that ceiling is by fill coating all of the texture. That can take 2 or 3 coats and then smooth coat it. That's a lot of work. If that's your situation, I recommend you just take the ceiling down, put in brand new drywall. It's less work, it's less dirt, it's less frustration, and it'll go a lot quicker. Now watch this. This ceiling looks good and ready to go, but it's filthy still, right? You can't just use this and then put mud on it. Your new ceiling is literally gonna disengage, fall down. So you're gonna wanna grab a sanding block and go through a light sand before you go to the next step. Okay, so after you've sanded it, if your ceiling hasn't been painted previously, and you just see the drywall with the mud, take the time to go get some PVA drywall primer and paint your ceiling and do the primer job first. Trust me, it'll help with bond with the new compound, or you're gonna have to get a wet rag and wash your whole ceiling. That's a pain in the butt. So, drywall primer solves that problem. And if you have stains or anything else up there, you can consider the idea of using like an odorless Zinsser as a primer for drywall as well. It's a stain sealer blocker. At the same time, it'll prime the drywall. That's a thought. That's an oil-based paint, and it works amazing. Now, we're gonna use our drywall compound. Warning, this is not just straight out of the box. If you wanna see a video on how I prepare my drywall mud, you can click the link up here in the card or check the video description down below. We'll go through the steps for mixing your own compound. Even the all-purpose ready to use is not ready to use. Not for this situation. You really want to get this silky smooth and creamy so you can apply it on your ceiling. Now here we go. You're going to take a good dollop and we're going to spread it out. Okay, I'll just show you here. This is too thin. Over here is too thick. You can see these little puck marks, all right? That is not acceptable. It's too much mud. You want to just pull it back until all the puck marks are gone. Okay, and that is a thin layer of drywall that you can sand and paint. That's a finished ceiling, all right? What I'm using here is a 4x10 flat blade. It's not a curve, okay, it's straight flat. If you buy one of these, then you can fix anything. And what you do is you just go row after row, adding that mud, and then applying some pressure, get rid of the puck marks. Okay, now the technique here is basically, I'm using pressure on the front when there's no mud, okay? And then even when I'm in the middle of the ceiling, and then I'll use it on the back when I'm on this edge. And that should get rid of almost all of the mud, and you get the odd hairline that you're gonna sand down when you're done, okay? Don't try to make it perfect now. The more you play with it, the worse it gets, not the better, all right? Again, just put some on. Use your hook to catch your drips. If you don't get enough on there, go back and add some more. There we go, okay? Now, we're gonna go get rid of the puck marks. Okay, always clean your tool before you use it. And then we'll go back, even pressure and get rid of that line for the most part. You see what I mean? The more you play with this, the more work you have. And now the less mud you have. Every time you go over top of this, try to fix it, you're going to create an issue. All right? Oh, here's a teachable moment. This is what I call dirt in your mud. There's a chunk. Get rid of that. You're no good to you. All it's going to do is leave a big line. Okay? Now, if you do this with your ceilings, you'll get pretty close to perfect. And then when it's all done, you're going to want to come back and you're going to want to sand in the opposite direction that you applied the mud. Okay? That'll get rid of all the ridges, and it'll avoid sanding lines in the ceiling. When you're putting on mud this way, okay, if there's movement in the ceiling and you sand the same direction, all you do is emphasize that movement. So the second coat you come back, and you're going to need a second coat, you're actually going to cause a bigger problem. So apply mud in one direction, sand in the opposite direction. Next time you come, apply mud in the opposite direction. Okay? And then by doing that, you'll fill up all of the imperfections and valleys. And then you will have a perfectly smooth ceiling. Now when you're done with the second coat of mud, same rule. Sand in the opposite direction. Okay? This is what I'm showing you here, is how imperfect everything is. That's why you need two coats. If you only go with one coat, you're going to sand it, you're going to paint it, and then you're going to go, oh, I don't like what I did. So prepare yourself. One coat, sand the other direction. Apply the mud in the same direction, and then sand in the other direction again. Then you can add your drywall primer to the ceiling. And if you like the overall look at that point, then walk away, okay? But if you need another coat, just go the third direction in the same direction as the first coat. So always switch your directions when you're applying mud and sanding. Sooner or later, you'll get to a point where you'll be happy with your job. But remember, less is more, okay? Don't put too much mud on the ceiling. If you have those pucks in the mud, you've got too much. Let me show you how much is actually on here. Okay? It's maybe a 1/16 of an inch. All right, that's not a lot of mud. One box of all-purpose compound is going to do you maybe an 8x8 square. Okay, give you an idea. So if you're doing a bedroom, let's say it's a 10 by 12 room, you're probably going to need 2, maybe even 3 boxes by the time you're done. All right, well, hopefully that's helpful. Remember, it's all in the technique. Don't work too hard. Just go smooth in one direction, and then sand it, and then smooth in the other direction, and then sand it. Your ceiling should turn out just as good as if I did it myself. Okay, don't forget to give us a thumbs up if this has been helpful. And now, if you're going to attempt doing ceilings, you're going to need a hock. You're going to need a 4x10. You're going to need a 6-inch. If all you do is go out and buy another 4-inch trowel, now you've got all the tools so you can do all your own drywall work and you can finish a basement. If you'd like to see how to do drywall taping from A to Z, you can click the link right here. It's kind of like a trade skill video. It'll show you all the tips and tricks you need so you can do drywall and be successful. Cheers till next time.